I just want to make it in the right order.
All right, it's 7:30. We will call the meeting of the Brainerd City Council to order. I will introduce Jennifer Bergman to give the oath of office to Jamie Beezer.
Out in front.
And you know what? We are going to take the microphone.
Last chance.
All right. We'll stand this way so we can both do it.
Oh, look at that.
All right. So please raise your right hand. I, William Beezer,
I, William Beezer,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
I will support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Minnesota,
the Constitution of the State of Minnesota,
and that I will faithfully
and that I will faithfully
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
of the office of City Council
of the office of City Council
of the City of Brainerd, Minnesota,
of the City of Brainerd, Minnesota,
to the best of my judgment and ability,
to the best of my judgment and ability,
so help me God.
so help me God.
You are officially council member.
Thank you, ma'am.
Congratulations.
Welcome aboard. Where's the party?
Right here, every other Monday.
Now I can.
Administrator Bergman, will you please call the roll?
She's busy already.
I know.
Running.
Yeah, I will. Thank you. O'Day.
Here.
Stunek.
I'm here.
Johnson.
Here.
Beezer.
Here.
Stengline. Here. Erickson.
Here.
Bevins.
Here.
And Badeau.
Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, item 5 is the approval of agenda. We got a couple of additions right after item 6, but before the council committee reports, I'd like to add having an introduction of our new city engineer, public works director by Administrator Bergman, as well as a presentation of a tower ward to Dave Pritchett by the mayor. And then at the end, we'd like to adjourn to the North Side Residents Picnic next Tuesday, the 9th.
I move approval with the changes.
Thank you. We have a motion by Johnson, a second by the old guy. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That motion carries. We're underway. Item 6 is a consent calendar. A notice to the public that all matters listed are considered routine by the council and will be enacted by one motion. There'll be no separate discussion of these items unless good cause is shown prior to the time the council votes on the motion be adopted by roll call. Is there a move to adopt the consent calendar?
So move. Second.
Motion by Erickson, second by O'Day. Any discussion? Hearing none, Administrator Bergman, please call the roll.
O'Day.
Yes.
Stunek.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yep.
Beezer.
Yes.
Stengline. Yes. Erickson.
Yes.
And Bevins.
Yes, that motion is adopted. Next up, we have an introduction of Jesse Dean by our City Administrator Bergman.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the council. I am really excited to introduce Jesse Dean, our new city engineer, public works director. He started today, his very first day, and has had a really busy day. We started out at 8:30 and ran around the city. I had the opportunity to meet the street department, the parks department, go to BPU and took a tour, and then spent the afternoon meeting with HR and meeting with a little bit with Paul Sandy, which he will be doing tomorrow. So with that, Mr. President, I would love if you would allow him a couple of minutes to introduce himself.
Jesse, anything you want to tell us before we get to know you?
Well, good evening, Council and Mayor. Again, Jesse Dean. I'm really honored for the opportunity, and I'm looking forward to being able to provide a good service for the community.
Thank you. We appreciate you being here. Next up, I'll ask Mayor Badeau if he would for a special presentation to past Alderman Pritchett.
Absolutely. First of all, Jesse, it is mayor and council. Let's make sure that we get that correct moving forward. I don't get to do a lot, but I get to do this right here. Dave Pritchett, I have in my hand here an award that we don't hand out very often. It is something that within the city means a lot. I know you were a part of the process in which we debated making these not quite so grand because they're a hefty unit, if you will. But this is an important award. This is the Tower Award, and the Tower Award goes to citizens of Brainerd or employees of the city of Brainerd that really have gone above and beyond. And I can attest that being a part of the council or being an elected official is not an easy task. And we often get the fun end of the stick, if you will. But what I learned from you very early on is that there are two sides to every story. Dave Pritchett, two sides of every story. And I really appreciated that when issues come up and when we had things that arose that potentially could go either way, you were always someone that would advocate for both sides. You know, you tend to be someone that listens to people that may have a differentiating opinion than yourself, and you tend to be someone that can be swayed, which I appreciate. So, as much as I joke, I do really believe that you did an excellent job for the city of Brainerd, and we are definitely going to miss you. So, I want to present this Tower Award to Dave Both Sides Pritchett.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, can I get one more?
The shoes, they're too fast.
Dave, anything you want to say to us before we lock the door, before we take away your key?
I never had the key, so it's not too hard
The
to do.
little magnetic thing was always a key.
Oh my gosh, I should have known. Yeah,
We never told you that.
So now you know.
We're not giving him one.
I still got my old one. I'll give it to you. So, no, I just want to say it's been an honor. It hasn't always been a pleasure. People would say, "Oh, how do you like being on council?" I always said it's not always fun, but it's always interesting. And really, you know, the biggest thing is leave things in better shape than you found them. And you know, just kind of looking around the last 10 years, it's been incredible. You know, I kind of look at it and go, I don't want to take credit for all the things that have happened, but at least I haven't been a barrier to those things that have happened, and you support them. If I take credit for all the good things, then I also have to take the blame for all the bad things, and my shoulders aren't that broad. So, again, just want, you know, I would say do what you think is in the best interest of the city of Brainerd. If you ever make a decision based on what's going to get you reelected, it's time to leave. Don't have a hidden agenda. Be open with what you believe and what you say. And that's all I got to say. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you, Dave.
And now I got to drive up to Hibbing, so.
But we want it back. We only have one. All right, thank you. for all
Well, you
your
have to
service.
stay for the whole night.
Yeah.
I was kidding about driving back.
Let's move on to our council committee reports. Item number 7. 7A is Safety and Public Works Committee Chairman Mike O'Day.
Thank you, Mr. President. Safety and Public Works just had 2 items tonight, so I'll try to be as fast as Mayor Bordeaux's shoes.
Oh,
First of which, you want to show them your shoes?
Film the shoes later.
First item was whether or not to approve an application, number 1 for final payment for improvement 22-02-2022 crack seal project. Motion coming out of committee was to approve the final pay application for improvement 22-02-2022 crack sealing project in the amount of $18,191.46 to Midwest Asphalt Maintenance, and I so move.
Second, Erickson.
motion by O'Day, second by Erickson. Any discussion? Chairman O'Day?
Yeah, so this one was, that we had budgeted $25,000. We did go over a little bit, $26,403.96 to be exact for a total, but that brought us from 39,005 feet of crack sealing to 47,867 feet. So it was a pretty good deal.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Hearing none, All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Please proceed.
Thank you, Mr. President. Second item was direction on active code enforcement cases. We had 3 properties on the agenda for this item tonight. First of which, 408, 2nd Avenue Northeast, has gone through the code enforcement of 3 citations. Now we're going to get that lawn abated and mowed. 430 C Street Northeast, we're looking into some major maintenance issues, trying to get our attorney to work on getting us in there, possibly getting those things fixed. And they also have reached the maximum fine that we have been citing for $300 per month, which if we don't hear back from this property owner, which we have a history of not hearing back from, they will receive $300 fines every 30 days through November 1st, at which time we usually don't enforce this kind of thing. Last of which is 915 Laurel Street, junk and debris, looking into abatement. We're gonna move right into that process. Comes down to it on the memo, staff came up with these recommendations. The motion coming out of committee was to follow the recommendations of staff on the attached memo, and I so move.
Motion by O'Day, is there a second?
I so second.
Second by Beazer. Any discussion? Mayor Bedeau?
Yeah, I had one question. I believe I heard that the 430 C Street, that is a rental?
That's correct.
Okay.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Aye.
That motion carries. Anything else, Chairman O'Day?
End of report.
End of report. Let's move on to item B, Personnel and Finance Committee Chair, Dave Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. President. We have 11 items on the agenda, the first of which is the Fire Department Relief Association Annual Report. They presented their annual report, and the motion is to authorize staff to sign the annual reports, including the reduction of $1,000 in the pension plan. And I so move.
Second.
Motion by Johnson, second by Stunek. Chairman Johnson.
So the stock market hasn't been so hot this year, so they are requesting that we lower their pension benefit from $14,750 per year of service to $13,750 per year of service. And that should leave the plan funded at 105%. So
Excellent. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Please proceed.
thank you. Next up is the resignation of firefighter Stengel, and the motion is to accept with regret the resignation of paid-on-call firefighter Joshua Stengel effective July 13th, and I so move.
Second.
Motion by Johnson, second by Tiffany. Any discussion? Chairman Johnson.
He had been with us for about 7 years, and things have just changed in his life where he's not able to meet the number of calls he's required to meet to stay on the paid-on-call staff.
Thank you. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Please proceed.
Thank you, Mr. President. Next up is the ratify the hiring of paid-on-call firefighters, and the motion is to ratify the hiring of Nick Anderson, Isaac High, Anthony Moberg, and Tyler Ogren effective August 1st, 2022, and I so move.
Second.
Motion by Johnson, second by Stunek. Any discussion? Chairman Johnson.
Just a neat thing of note that the former chief and the current chief pointed out that Anthony Moberg is a grandson of a former firefighter, and Nick Anderson is the
Son.
son of a former firefighter. So there's kind of generations of history in the Brainerd Fire Department, and that's pretty cool.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Please proceed.
Thank you, Mr. President. Next up is to accept the retirement of Transit Coordinator Anders Stone, and the motion is to accept with regret the retirement of Transit Coordinator Anders Stone effective August 22nd, 2022, and to authorize his severance payout per the employee policy manual, and I so move.
Second.
We have a motion by Johnson, second by Stengline. Any discussion? Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Please proceed.
Thank you, Mr. President. The next item is to approve the promotion of Chad Lardy to Street Maintenance 3. And the motion is to approve the promotion of Chad Lardy to Street Maintenance 3 position effective October 16, 2022. And that he be placed on step 3 of the Street Maintenance 3 wage grid. Further, that he will advance to step 4 for this promotion when he achieves the MPCA Class B sewer collector's license. and further to direct staff to begin the hiring process to backfill the street maintenance 1 position. And I so move.
Motion by Johnson, second by Stunek. Any discussion? Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Please proceed.
Okay, that brings us to the next item, Mr. President, and that's to consider the approval of the revised employee policy manual, and the motion is to approve the revised employee policy manual as presented.
We have a motion by Johnson. Is there a second? Second by Stingline. Chairman Johnson.
So this has been delayed one time because the Public Utilities Commission had some concerns. We did meet with city administrator, HR director, myself, Kelly, President Bevins, and 2 members of the PUC, and worked out some language that worked well for all parties, and we included that in here, and we're meeting the direction we wanted to go with it, and the PUC feels like their input will be respected in the future, so everybody's happy.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Any further discussion? Any further? Tiffany Stingline.
I just feel like I should point out that the telecommuting option is still being worked on and will come back later.
Got it. Thank you very much. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Please proceed.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm going to toss this one over to Councilmember Stengline to make a motion.
Sure. So the motion coming out of committee is to approve and authorize staff to pay the bill for our cleanup that was run, the trash cleanup.
Second.
We have a motion by Stingline, second by Stunek. Any discussion?
So
Tiffany.
basically, it was a catastrophic success. We went way over budget, but we hauled out a lot of trash from the city out to the landfill. So while it is over budget, that much trash was collected and hauled to the dump.
Thank you. Chairman Johnson.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. President. I'll be voting no on the motion because when this bill first came to us 2 meetings ago, the direction was, hey, can you reach out to the skate park organization and see if they can't help us out with these overage and costs? And we just haven't heard back from them yet. So I'm going to vote no on spending $8,700. I'd be fine to spend the $4,500 today, but I just kind of want to hear what we wanted to hear in the first place. So I'll be voting no.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Chairman O'Day.
I guess I saw this coming through. We did approve $4,500. I think we should have kept it at that. If we would have managed it right, I think it would have been no big deal, and they would raise some money. Now we have this extra $4,000 that we have to pay, which I don't think we should sit here and split hairs over it, because $6 million budget or $10 million budget, we have $4,000. I don't want to ruin a relationship over a group of good people and kids that are trying to do something good. But I think we need to remember this going into the future. This didn't go the way that we saw it going. If we're going to do these fundraisers with any group such as this, I think we need to be more upfront about what we're paying for.
Thank you. I have a question, and I think it's really more of staff, but maybe Tiffany or Chairman Johnson can answer this. Somebody must have called the recycling company and said, bring us dumpsters. I suspect it was not the skate people at all, but probably somebody with the city of Brainerd. And I'm guessing the message didn't get put through, bring us $4,500 worth of dumpsters. It was just bring us dumpsters. Anybody? I mean, I think there's a lesson to be learned.
Paul can answer, but I think the answer is generally yes.
Yeah, so when we were planning this event, so we've done, I think, 3 or 4 of these over time. They have never worked out this well. We might have filled up 2 dumpsters. So, yes, when we were planning the event, they were going to have 7 dumpsters out there. There was no expectation that they would fill up those 7 dumpsters. So I said, if you guys fill up a dumpster, yeah, give them a call. It might be 1 extra, whatever it is. But then they filled up 9. And so how the event was planned is that city staff would not be involved in that day. We did not anticipate that they would be filling up however many it was, because it's never been a success. Now, I will say that this event, we've never really known the true cost of the event. 3 years ago, we sent out over 2,000 $10 tokens to every resident in Brainerd. That bill, if every resident would have used them, would have been in excess of $20,000. So I mean, this event, you know, it hasn't gone well in the past. I would say that it's a good thing that it did go this well. However, a lesson learned, yes, I would say that maybe we should have said, you know, you should shut your event down at noon if you run out of dumpster space. I don't know, but.
Okay. Any further discussion? Newly appointed Alderman Beazer.
Thank you, Mr. President. Yeah, just one comment, and that being, you know, I think the term catastrophic success is a great term. And, you know, some of the questions that were going through my head was, you know, did we have historic understanding of kind of what to expect? And it sounds like we did. And for whatever reason, you know, everybody was on board to dump that day. But I think what it gives us is a great framework of how to handle it in the future. You know, when we have volunteer organizations, we'll have a better set of kind of rules and guidelines to keep us from falling off the rails. That's all.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Any further discussion? We have a motion to pay the bill and a second to pay the bill. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign.
Aye.
That motion carries. Please proceed.
Thank you, Mr. President. Next up is the discussion of reporting of the working funds for the 2023 audit. And the motion is to direct staff to condense the general fund, public safety fund, parks and recreation fund, and street fund all into the general fund for our CAFR on next year's audit, and I so move.
Motion by Johnson. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Stingline. Chairman Johnson.
Mr. President, if you can check with the finance director to make sure that motion is correct.
Is that correct, Finance Director Hillman?
Sounds good.
All right.
She'd like to.
Cool.
Any further discussion? Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Please proceed.
All right, thank you, Mr. President. Next up is the 23 budget timeline and set a budget workshop. So I don't know if you've reviewed it in your packet, but we're thinking the PNF chair and council president will meet to set a preliminary budget on the 22nd or 23rd of August, hold a workshop on the 29th of August, and then have an informational workshop, maybe if it's necessary, in September, and then set the preliminary levy at the council meeting on September 19th.
So we're looking, that's a motion to set the budget workshop.
We'll call that a motion to set that timeline, yeah.
Second.
Motion by Johnson, second by Stunek. Any discussion on the Monday, August 29th, 6 PM in council chambers? Connie, council chambers. No hiding the meeting. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, same sign. Please proceed.
Thank you, Mr. President. Next up is a resolution accepting the final ARPA fund distribution, and I move to adopt the attached resolution, accept the final distribution of the Coronavirus Local Fiscal Recovery Fund established under the American Rescue Plan Act, and I so move.
Motion by Johnson, second by Stingline. Any discussion? Chairman Johnson.
This is the second of the two payments we were expecting, and our total that we have received or been allocated in ARPA funds is $1,468,097.57.
Thank you. Any further discussion on the acceptance of the second portion of the ARPA funds? Hearing none, this is a resolution. Administrator Bergman, please call the roll.
O'Day.
Yes.
Stunek.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Beazer.
Yes.
Stingline.
Yes.
Erickson.
Yes.
And Bevins.
Yes. That resolution is adopted. Please proceed.
Okay, and the final item is just an update on the request for funds to be returned from the Lakes Area Media Collaborative, and I got a little email here this afternoon to Jennifer Bergman. Jennifer, the Lakes Media Collaborative Board has been discussing the future plans of the organization and is in the process of consulting with legal counsel to help guide our planning process. Once LMC receives necessary guidance from legal counsel, we will respond to your inquiry.
I'll be darned.
Respectfully, Board of Directors, Lakes Media Collaborative.
Who signed it?
It was from Dave Hansky, but it was signed Board of Directors.
Okay.
That's the update.
News.
the update.
Mayor Bordeaux.
In paper.
In shock. Mayor Bordeaux.
How many months? August of last year. So a full year. Well, listen, they came in right under the nose.
Any other discussion on the Lakes Area Media Collaborative?
End of report. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Chairman Johnson, and thanks for the good work, hopefully good work in recovering those funds. Next up is item 8, that's unfinished business. Item 8A is to consider a conditional use permit for a commercial daycare facility at 1002 Laurel Street. And this is James Kramvik. Anything you wish to add to what's in our pack?
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. Cassandra Kubish has submitted an application for a conditional use permit to operate the commercial daycare facility at 1002 Laurel Street. You may be familiar with this one. The applicants originally applied and were granted a conditional use permit in 2019 for this location. However, it did expire after 1 year because it was not used. So they are reapplying with essentially the same plan, have met all the conditions in the new town center district. Planning Commission voted unanimously to recommend approval of the CUP request without adding any conditions.
Thank you. Any questions of staff? Hearing none, Mr. Erickson, care to make a motion on this one? Our P&Z guy?
So moved. Thank you.
We've got a motion to approve the conditional use permit by Erickson. Is there a second? Second by, I heard down here,
It was me or her.
it was you.
We tied.
It was you. O'Day. Any questions, discussions, comments? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, same sign. Next up is item 8B, to consider an interim use permit for the warming shelter at 1926 South 7th Street. Again, Mr. Kramvik, anything you'd like to add to what's in our packet?
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. So Janice Shogren has submitted a request on behalf of Bridges of Hope for an interim use permit to operate a warming shelter at 1926 South 7th Street, same location as their previous interim use permit, which did expire June 1st of 2022. So one change to this one is one of the conditions, I guess, of the interim use permit is it shall not exceed 16 continuous hours. Under the previous one, it was 12. They are asking in this one for 14. Planning Commission voted unanimously to recommend approval of the interim use permit. They are also asking as part of the conditions, essentially for 3 years, interim use permit shall expire on June 30th of 2025. The applicants are here and could potentially answer questions on that as well. And then the other condition is, again, which was part of the first one, if the Brainerd Police Department determines that the facility has been used in a disorderly manner, and upon the recommendation of the police chief, the interim use permit shall be brought before the city council for review and consideration for suspending or revoking the permit at the next available council meeting.
Any questions of staff? Any comments from the police department? Nope. Tad, is there a motion to approve this conditional use permit out of planning and zoning?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Staying line. I was.
My turn this time.
Yeah, it was your turn. All right. We have a motion and a second to approve the conditional use permit. Chairman Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'll be voting no, not that it's not a great cause, and not that we don't need it, but I don't like the idea of doing an interim use permit over 3 years. I think it should be an annual review of how the relationship is working to best protect my neighborhood and just the Brainerd community. 3 years is a real long time. I would really like to see it 1 year at a time. So I'll be voting no on a 3-year interim use permit.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Chairman O'Day.
I was going to say the same thing. I think we had a great thing last year. I think everything worked out really well. And I don't know if we want to change anything with that. I don't know how this affects the property otherwise either. I don't know what this owner is trying to do long term. That aside, I think Gabe is correct on the fact that an interim use permit should probably be 1 year at a time. So I will vote no, but I would vote yes on the same thing we did last year.
Thank you.
Mr. President.
Tad Erickson.
I'm going to vote in favor of it. I understand the concern that did come up in the planning commission meeting, the length of 3 years. The discussion was that with the caveat that the police department does have that ability to review if there's any major issues. I felt comfortable with that it would come back if there's any major issues deemed by the police chief. Also, part of the discussion was for this organization they did a really good job fundraising throughout the community. And so in order for the organization to move forward with confidence and for the members of the public to be donating to this, it gives them some stability with a longer term. So I understand the concern, but with those kind of two items is what the planning commission discussed, and for those reasons, I'm going to be supporting it as is.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Any further discussion? The motion is to approve the conditional use permit for 3 years. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign?
Aye.
That motion carries. Next up is item C, the call for applicants. Mayor Bordeaux.
Well, I bet you missed me last meeting, but I'm back. The following applications are available at our website, ci.brainerd.mn.us/abords with an S. The mayor recommends the following terms expiring 12/31 of said year. Cable TV Advisory Committee, 2 terms expiring 2022, 1 term expiring 2024. Charter Commission, 1 term expiring 2022, 1 term expiring 2025. Rental Dwelling License Board of Appeals, 2 terms expiring 2022. We also have 2 spots available on the Economic Development Authority with terms expiring on the 7th of September of said year, and those are 1 term expiring 2022 and 1 term expiring 2026.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, but I actually thought Gabe did a good job last time.
What'd I do?
Well, it was quick.
Read
A lot quicker.
Yeah.
the openings.
I only get to say 3 things.
There, it's all right. All right, and as council president, I have 1 planning commission term to expire 2023. I have an applicant, Mr. Chuck Marone. I'm sure you all read it, and I would like to look for a motion to approve that.
So moved.
Motion by Stenglein, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Erickson. I talked to Mr. Duvall today. He thought he'd be an excellent choice. So, any discussion? Mr. Mayor.
I'm going to speak against this, and not that I don't like Chuck. I actually really appreciate Chuck. I've served on a lot of commissions with Chuck. The problem with Chuck is that Chuck travels a lot, and Chuck is not available for meetings. And so this is another instance of bringing him on and potentially running into issues where we don't have a quorum or that he's just not available for those meetings. So it's not anything against him. I actually support most of what he says. 83% of what comes out of Chuck's mouth, I support. However, his availability is a concern of mine, specifically in a commission that is very much timing based. So this is something where we are constantly dealing with people that need things, and they need to have a time frame set, and the city needs to have a time frame set. And so for that particular position, I don't think that it's a good fit.
Thank you. And that's exactly what I asked Mr. Duvall, the chairman of Planning and Zoning, and he said, not a problem. Okay. He said he served his full term. Okay. Chairman Johnson.
Mr. President, I will be using my vote to support your recommendation for Chuck on the Planning and Zoning Commission.
All right. Any further
Are we all
discussion?
supposed to say that then?
No, I just.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, we have a motion, we have a second. Motion by Stenglein, second by Erickson. Great discussion. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. That motion carries. We also have an ad hoc committee opening on the Water Tower Fundraising Committee. Next up is new business, and that's to item 9A, to set a special council meeting to canvass the 2022 primary election results. And this is Connie Hillman. Anything you want to add to what's in our packet?
Nothing in addition, just that it has to be done on August 11th or 12th.
Okay. Everybody understand what we have to do? We have to have at least 4 of us here, but we're going to set a council meeting on the 11th or 12th to accept or canvass the election results. This is for the primary. What days of the week are these, Connie?
Thursday or Friday.
Is this like a noon thing or a 5:01 thing or?
I think it could be a 12 to 12:02 meeting.
12
It's gonna only
so
gonna be
it's
a
going to
couple
be a
minutes.
noon thing.
But it could be at 4:30 or it could be at 5 whenever we can get a quorum.
I like the noon thing.
I think we've done this in the past at noon, and if we can get 4 here for 5 minutes, let's do it at noon and get it over with.
Let's say 10 or 11 or 11 or 12.
Aren't you
August
listening?
11th
11th
or
12th is
12th.
what Connie said.
I can do 11th at noon.
11th, we got a motion for the 11th at noon. Is there a second by O'Day? Any discussion for the 11th at noon? What day of the week is that, Connie?
The 11th would be a Thursday.
A Thursday at noon. That'd be 2 days after the election? Tuesday? Perfect. Hearing no further discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign? We're in.
Can't wait.
It could be at the.
Be here as long as I win.
Yeah.
Speaking of which,
Oh.
Mr. President, was that here in council chambers?
Here in council chambers. Thank you.
Gabe's house.
Not at the Legion.
Oh, come on.
Bet we could do it downstairs if we want.
Yeah, I got that.
Thank you.
All right, next up is item 10, the public forum. Time allocated for citizens to bring matters not on the agenda to the attention of the council. We'd like to have you keep it to 3 to 5 minutes. We will open the public forum at 8:05 and ask if there's anybody in chambers or online who wishes to speak to the council. Now's your time. Anybody online, Sean? Just Eric. Yeah, he'll get his chance. Well, maybe he has something. Eric, you got anything for open forum?
Snoring.
Nope, I'll take that as a no. Anybody in chambers have anything for us on the public forum? Hearing none, we will close the public forum at 8:06 and we'll move on to staff reports. And we're gonna start with Eric so I don't skip him. Eric Charpentier, you're online. What's happening with the HRA?
Maybe not.
Yeah, he's there.
He unmuted.
Eric, your mic is not working.
He's gonna use his 3 to 5 minutes.
Right. He doesn't even have a picture. Eric, we're gonna come back to you. Anything from the HR department, Chris Schubert?
In my report, I had noted that nominations are being submitted for our 2022 Innovation and Exceptional Service Awards. In the past, we've had council members serve to help us select those recipients. If there's anyone that would like to do that this year, we can try and work around your schedule. The deadline, I believe, is next week, so anytime towards the end of the week or the following week, we'd probably start doing that. So if you're interested, please let me know.
Okay.
Sounds like a job for William.
Thank you. Anything from the legal department? Anything from community development?
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. Just a brief summary of the other items that were on the Planning Commission agenda. This was the variance request for 401 Holly Street. So just wanted to give a brief summary of what was in my Community Development Director report. So the original fence permit at this property was, under the previous zoning code, was issued with an incorrect setback. Kelsey Randall had submitted a variance request at 401 Holly Street to exceed the side yard corner setback requirements for fences greater than 4 feet. The Planning Commission heard the variance request at their July 20th Planning Commission meeting and voted unanimously to deny the variance request. The Planning Commission also worked on the facade interpretation of our code, and essentially because we have a new code, and they did look at that interpretation as the furthest point of the principal structure with living space that is attached to the foundation, walls, and covered with a roof. So the applicants at 401 Holly Street withdrew their variance request as well as the original fence permit, and then reapplied under the new zoning code, which allows corner lots to align fences with the front facade of their home in both the front and side corner lots. So the applicants are permitted a 6-foot fence approximately 14 feet from the sidewalk aligning with the facade, and they are going to be required to also move the fence off the property line. And that is it.
Mr. Krambeck? At that meeting, and I was at that meeting, I thought planning and zoning was spot on with how they handled that issue and under your guidance. Thank you. However, I noticed a number of accusations of fences that were built incorrectly. What happens with those? So I built a fence right on the property line. It's 6 feet. What happens? Well, so far nothing has happened. But what is the...
Yeah, so if somebody builds a fence incorrectly, at that point, we'd issue an order to correct letter to them.
Okay, have we issued any in the last 30 days?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, I just want to know, because it's the old, how come you pulled me over, officer story, right? And I get that, right?
Yep.
How come I got caught?
There were 2 other fences in that neighborhood as well.
All the police under the bus now.
Right, sorry. That was
You better walk home,
Kevin
Kelly.
Stunek who said
You
that.
better walk home.
Jesse Dean, anything good from the city engineering department?
Well, good evening, Mr. President. I know the meeting's not quite over yet, but thank you for taking it easy for me on our first day. That's all I got.
Gets worse, ask Paul. Paul, Sandy, how many more days are you gonna be with us?
29, I believe. How many days are in August? 31, so 30. You got me for
Okay.
30 more.
Okay.
Somewhere between 29 and 31.
Keep him from jumping off the ledge in his first 31 days.
Well, I'll try my best. Lots of big things happening down at Mississippi Landing Trailhead Park. If you guys want to go down there and take a look, they put the structural steel on the overlook today. So it's kind of a bridge-like structure that cantilevers over the riverbank. Pretty cool there. They poured the Learning Center or slab today with colored concrete. I think they're doing the amphitheater tomorrow. Lots of dirt moved around, putting the storm sewer in. Also all kinds of activities going on out there right now. You can see that South 6th Street is open for the Fair Week. I'm assuming that when they do the signal work at Buffalo Hills Lane, that will be temporarily closed down again sometime after the fair. That's all I have.
Thank you. Finance Director Hillman?
Nothing to report. Can I request that the street stay open for election two?
Yes.
Thank you.
IT GIS Director Strong?
Nothing from IT, but Eric emailed in saying no updates from HRA either. He doesn't know why his mic's not working.
Excellent. Chief?
Nothing, Mr. President.
Chief?
Double chief.
Double chiefs. All right, and nothing from Mr. Charpentier. Jennifer Berkman.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the council.
Rightfully done.
Just a couple of updates. Deed Main Street grant application is open. So we will be accepting applications through September 5th. Just a reminder, that is in the River to Rail corridor. There's information on Bladek's website, and there will be a postcard going out to all property owners in that area. In addition, we are going to have additional postcards that we'll be able to hand out. Please spread the word. We hope we get a lot of applications. I had the opportunity to attend the Crow Wing County City Administrators meeting, and a presentation was given by Eric Charpentier. I did leave something in front of you on the Housing Trust Fund. I thought it was a really interesting conversation. I know that the HRA is really trying to promote this Housing Trust Fund and how we can take advantage of this here in Brainerd as well. So I did include that. Sorry, Eric's microphone isn't working. I also attended the BPU Commission meeting, just a couple of updates that I thought may be of interest. The Commission did get a presentation by Bolton and Mink on the biosolids project. They did approve the contribution to the city policy that the council approved at their last meeting, and the solar project has started out at the airport, so thought that was also exciting as well. And that is all I have.
Thank you. Honorable Mayor Bedot.
So I am returning from vacation, as some of you may know.
Choice.
First of all, I just want to let anyone know that had tried to reach me in my absence. I am back, and I will get back to your phone calls and emails as soon as possible. Now, a couple things to note. Jesse, I see that you've got this nameplate in front of you. I see that the gentleman next to you is claiming to have the same title as you. So if you request, we can have a piece of tape put over the entire thing. We don't even need to know that he's Paul Sandy. Street Fest happened last weekend. It was a great time had by all. It was a great opportunity to take off your polo and throw on a shirt and maybe just enjoy your night. But everybody that came out, I just want to thank you for enjoying a great festivity. It is my favorite event that the JC's put on, and so I want to thank them for that. Smiles on the Sippy happened this last weekend as well. That was a fantastic event, and I want to thank the Smiles for Jake movement for putting that on. Katie Sipe of the City of Brainerd and a member of the board at Community Action would like to remind them that they received money from Brainerd Community Action, and they should remember to thank their sponsors. Katie Sipe, I'm looking at you. But it was a great event, and they did a fantastic job. And for year one, I want to say that it's one of those things that you can just see where it's going. You can see that we're getting people down into that park, into Rotary Park. It's something that not everyone knows is there. Excuse me. It's something that not everybody knows is there. But you can see the groundwork for year one. And it's something that they're looking forward to continuing to build, and very, very happy for that entire group, and I want to thank them for that. And then lastly, I just want to say that while I was on vacation, we had a member of the public step up to the public forum and attribute some words to myself. I was not here to make note of those words, and I just want to say to those in the audience that potentially have viewed them, my words are my own. And so if people are putting words out there as being from myself, I believe that the people that were on the receiving end of that have had conversations, and we know where we stand on things. So that a little nod to people in the audience who watch from week to week, that sometimes things get attributed that are not necessarily of the actual case. End of report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Up next is the council committee reports. We'll start with Tad Erickson.
All right, thank you, Mr. President. Just a few committee updates, planning and zoning, coming up this month, August 17th. Following that, the Transportation Advisory Committee is August 18th. And then the following week, Northland Arboretum Board of Directors is the 25th. I'm looking forward to all those committee meetings. I wanted to say welcome, Jesse. I know we've received a lot of welcomes tonight, but it's great to have you on board. Looking forward to working with you. And then lastly, I too wanted to talk about the Smiles on the Sippy event. Really good event. I stopped down there, I think it was Saturday, and a really well-rounded event, a lot of really good activities, a lot of good food, that kayaking for the more adventurous. The shuttle was running up and down. I was surprised at how many people, given the first year, live music, and really, as you mentioned, Mr. Mayor, I'll piggyback on what you said, it draws attention to that park and gets people farther down in that park than they perhaps even know exists. So very well done. So thank you, and that's end of report.
Thank you. Tiffany Stingline?
Nothing this evening.
Jamie Beezer?
Nothing, thank you.
Thank you very much. Chief Stunek?
I have nothing tonight.
Chairman O'Day?
Thank you. I'll add some words, just a few. Most of these things have been mentioned already. Jennifer mentioned the EDA meeting coming up on Thursday. Some exciting things going on there. Looking forward to seeing the park on the river as it develops. I haven't even been down there because the road's been blocked off, but looking forward to that turning out soon. And nobody mentioned yet, the Crow Wing County Fair starts tomorrow. So if anybody wants to go to the fair and have a meeting and talk shop with Mr. Erickson, he will have a booth.
Was he running or something?
It's only going to be about 91 degrees. 92.
I'm going to go and just tie it all up so nobody else can talk to him.
End of report.
Thank you, Chairman Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have a few items. And to piggyback on the fair thing, if you're thinking about going to the Midway tomorrow, maybe don't be first in line. They just rolled in with the rides this afternoon.
Check the bolts.
They skipped every other bolt.
But another BPU update, since they have the solar project going on at the airport, they're going to try and get that contractor to build solar panels around their facilities in Baxter and build a hoop house. So now all they have to do is go to the Baxter City Council and ask to build a solar field and a hoop house, and that project will get done. Heads up to everybody, August 9th is the primary. Heads up to everybody in Ward 4. We've had 2 voting locations before. We've had 1 before, but this year we are just all voting again at St. Andrew's Church. There is no Harrison. There is no Carefree Senior Living. All Ward 4 on August 9th. Votes for whoever they want to vote for at St. Andrew's Church, but I recommend voting for Gabe Johnson. Thank you.
Thank you for the paid political announcement.
Drive down 13th Street, that's all you see.
I'm absolutely positive PUC will have no problems in front of the city of Baxter. They're so willing to work with the city of Brainerd. I'm so glad to hear we've poured cement down. I was just down at that Riverwalk thing. I rode my bike around the trail to see if I could catch me a goat. And I thought we were building the whole thing out of sand. Right? I mean, there's like 90 piles of sand there. I also went to Ribfest. It was a lot of fun. I want to commend our 2 city council members, the chairman of our committees, Chairman Johnson and Chairman O'Day. Both had booths, and they both did excellent with their ribs. And I want to thank them because I know it's an all-day thing to have to commit to that. And I want to thank the JCs because that really is a lot of fun. One last thing, we added an adjournment to the Brainerd Northside Neighborhood Association, and we can't do that because it's an election night. So we can't schedule a meeting on election night. So that's gonna be removed from item 14. But if you do go, you're welcome to go. I'll be there. It's a Northside thing. It's a lot of fun. We recommend you go. Don't talk about any voting issues. Respect the open meeting law, or Attorney Langle will be on you. Okay? Next up is to adjourn to a closed session pursuant to Minnesota statutes 13D.03 to discuss labor negotiation strategy. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
So moved by O'Day. Is there a second by Stengline? Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
We will take a